Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rate as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from.
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
The struggle, the ASU strike.
You have done your work and put us to the wall. We are not your slaves.
I'm not a small boy. You should have given me the report. I have not seen the report.
Good morning to each and every one of you out there. It's a beautiful Thursday morning, and yes, it's Global Television on your African Finest. Just like Anthony Momodu always say, I am Jumai Manson, and today I am not doing it alone. I have my beautiful co-host Queen Agaba sitting in for Anthony Momodu. How are you doing, Queen?
Good morning. I'm doing fine.
Good morning.
You look radiant this morning.
Thank you. Thank you. Don't I always?
You always.
Oh.
You always. I should have put that in.
Yes, thank you so much. All right, it's a beautiful time today, and we have lots of programs lined up for you today. And of course, we will be taking our first discuss of the day later on in the program. But before we go ahead, we'll have lots of exciting topics to talk about. And then, of course, the AM news will hit your airways. And then, of course, we have taste and texture. And then, of course, we will have some bits to actually share with you before we go into the newspaper review. Let's not forget, before then, we have the AM news. And then, of course, like I said, topical discuss that we will be speaking about on the program today. And then, of course, we will wrap it up on the program. All right, it's a Thursday morning, Queen. So looking at what happened yesterday, the rain fell all over Nigeria yesterday. Everywhere you pull a call through, from Abuja to Lagos to Port Harcourt, it was a raining Wednesday yesterday. And of course, Nina supposed to give us a head up when it comes to issues like that. And that's why the senators are saying that Nina should always bring out predictions. And we'll be talking about that in the course of the program. How was it? How did you get home yesterday?
Yeah, I go home eventually. But you know, when it rains like this, there are a whole lot of factors that we need to consider, that needs to be considered. Yesterday, I saw cars break down along the express. There was heavy traffic somewhere around Katampe down to before Galadima, because you know my house is towards that area. And but I got home safe. I wasn't drenched by the rain. And yes, people should, I think this is a call for people to check their vehicles. Check their vehicles, because it's a rainy season now. And more especially the other day, the day before yesterday, when it rained as well, cars were parked on the express because it was raining heavily. That's a safety caution measure they're taking there, because parking your car and choosing not to drive amidst that heavy downpour. Of course, there were cars that were still driving, you know, on that express and speeding, which is not safe, which is not right, especially because the rains are coming heavily, and then you're driving in that. You probably would not be able to tell if there are loopholes, potholes, I beg your pardon, if there's danger in front, because it's raining, and you know, the clouds are a bit dark. It was towards the evening and night as well. You felt towards the evening to somewhere around 8 p.m. That was the day before yesterday. It's a rainy season, actually, so we should expect rain, as NIMET has predicted, thunderstorms and all of that during this season. So my call to action for people who have vehicles, especially for even those who are pedestrians, who may not be mobile at the moment, to prepare, because it's a rainy season.
They do reflectors?
Events, yes, they do. Your events should be in a place that has a hall. You preferably use a hall for your event, so that you're not caught
on guard.
Rain. You're on guard, and then let your events be in the hall, well planned and all that, because the rains can come. And then if you're driving, drive safely, drive slowly. Be aware of your surrounding and environment. A lot of cars broke down yesterday, particularly yesterday.
A lot.
And a lot of people speeding because we had a bit of traffic, and at some points the roads were free. For some people speeding towards that express, cars were stopped without signs. And so you have to be careful now, knowing that it's the rainy season. The roads are slippery. Bikes as well. Use your helmet. If you're going to be biking, make sure you use helmet so that you don't slip off the road, because the roads are slippery. But
yes,
I
they
got
are.
on yesterday, and I like the weather. They say weather for two, even though I'm not two. But you know what? My skin is glowing, at least.
Okay. All right, but looking at it critically now, you know, this is a very serious issue, especially when we talk about areas that are flooded. You know, there are lots of flooded areas when it comes to states. Of course, we know the incident happened in Bayelsa, Lokoja, and all of that. Do you think we do not take enough precautionary measures to prepare ourselves for what is ahead? I know rain is a natural source, you know, from God. We cannot prevent it, we cannot stop it. But don't you think that we do not prepare or put ourselves on guard when it comes to flood? We do not have enough drainage system. It's even worse in Lagos with all of the infrastructure in Lagos. We do not have a drainage system. You see houses being up, as in rains, as in trying to overturn the houses, cars moving away and all of that. I don't think we prepare ourselves for all of these things.
Yes, particularly in the island, where if it rains for a highbrow area like the island in Lagos, where you expect that there should be drainages, proper drainage systems, but you still see that when it rains, it still gets flooded.
Yes, it does.
Flooded.
Yes, it does.
Aside from the fact that there needs to be structured drainage, proper drainage system, I think Nigerians don't practice proper waste disposal. I saw a video yesterday where a couple were captured trying to dispose their waste. They actually did dispose their waste in the flood. Their house was already flooded. You could tell that the flood was getting towards the
corridor. Okay.
They were in the flood already, and they were still disposing a truckload, a drum load, because it's a drum load of waste.
Are you kidding me?
So you see that the flood is not likely to reduce anytime because of the poor waste management system that or culture that these people have. So I think that now is the time to continue to propagate the message of proper waste disposal, and then relevant agencies needs to step in. Houses, I think they're doing that already. You see in houses where they are building on a place that is marked for drainage. That's supposed to be a drainage. People are building houses. It also goes down to those allocating lands to people illegally. This is the cause of some of the issues that they have. So you see them when the house is almost built. Maybe they told them beforehand that this building is not supposed to, is marked for demolition because it's not in the appropriate place. Sentiments come in. People are now crying and saying that, oh, they want to make them start from square zero. Meanwhile, they've been pre-informed because the lands may be cheaper. They've been pre-informed that, you know, this land is not where you're not supposed to build on this land. This land is most likely a road. It's supposed to be a passageway or a drainage or something, but you're building on these marked structures for. So it's a call for demolition, and then they begin to get sentimental and cry and all of those. So we should be careful as well, so that we don't buy lands in the wrong places, and we don't start building on the wrong places that are supposed to be drainages or roads. So these are the causes of these floods that we experience in Lagos. And then we need to, as a matter of necessity and importance, have a waste management culture.
Yeah, very important.
Very important. And then, like we see in Lagos, I don't see that all the time, though, in some parts of I don't know how well. In some places, I think it's towards the before the Katampe, if I'm not mistaken. There's a big, but I see that the FCT minister is doing a whole lot to curtail that habit of dumping waste in a particular site. Before now, when you pass that road, you cannot breathe properly. You have to be, your glasses have to be wound up already because of the stench from that place. So I think a whole lot is being put in place to ensure that disposal of waste in that area is brought to the minimal. So yes, relevant agencies need to step up so that we don't have issues of flooding like this.
Very
can be destructive to lives and property.
Very important. All right, let's quickly go on a very quick break, and then when we return, we will continue with the same topic of discuss, and then include some other very interesting topics. Don't forget, it's Global Morning on Global Television. Stay with us.
For an insightful idea that takes the center stage and the conversation that gets beyond the headlines, to explore the lasting impact of political decisions, Big Talk got you covered. From policy debates to geopolitical insights, from thought-provoking discussions to actionable insight.
What is the real responsibility of government?
Big Talk delves deep into the heart of the matter. Join us weekdays on Global Televisions from 6:30 p.m. for a reverting journey into the heart of politics, where we dissect issues shaping our society.
With every government and introduction of new policies, businesses of all kinds and sizes seize the opportunity to evolve and redefine themselves. Business Point on Global Television is where we follow the money and put the facts and figures right in front of you. Watch Business Point every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. as Kikelamo Okere tracks all the latest developments across critical sectors. Business Point, this is business.
Are you ready to be entertained like never before? Get ready to dive into the latest and greatest entertainment news in lifestyle, music, movies, birthday celebration, and so much more. All on Entertainment Circle on Global Television. From the hottest red carpet event to exclusive interviews with your favorite stars, we've got you covered. Stay up to date with the latest trends and news from the entertainment world, all in one place. Tune in every Saturday by 1 p.m. with Chong Annabelle Joseph on Global Television.
In an ever-busy world, the increasing challenge of keeping track of health matters can be extremely demanding. Follow the latest health tips and trends on Health Guide on Global Television on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Health Guide on Global Television. Put your health first. Get ready for it. Inside Today brings you issues relating to family, peer pressure, drugs, substance abuse, societal and topical issues making rounds. Join Jumaine Manson on Global Television Monday to Thursday and a repeat every Friday. Time 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Don't miss out.
Are you a food lover? Do you care about your health and nutrition? Are you interested in exploring the diverse culinary traditions from around the world? Then look no further. Introducing Lunch Global on Global Television, a show that takes you on a delicious journey through the world of food, nutrition, and diet. So, whether you're a seasoned foodie, a health enthusiast, or simply curious about the world of food, Lunch Global has something for everyone. Tune in Mondays to Fridays and let your taste bud take you on a journey of flavor, culture, and discovery on Lunch Global. Bon appetit!
Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofwebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumaine Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the Global Morning team.
All right, you're welcome back. And if you're just tuning in, this is Global Morning on Global Television. And yes, it is a beautiful Thursday morning, and I'm here. I am not doing it alone. I have Queen Agaba.
As always.
Not always. You're standing in for Anthony Momodi. Are you kidding me right now?
But I'm always here.
Yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are.
Even though I'm not with you.
Yes, you're always, yes, really, you are always here on Global Morning. But on a very lighter note now, I know we've said a lot about drainage, flood, the rain and all of that. I know a lot of people are really, really scared. This is the time of the year whereby some people who stay in areas where it's always mushy, flooded and all of that, their heart rate is on the rise. And that is why you mentioned a very key point, and you said it's very important you make your findings. You find that some landlords will actually lie and tell you that no, the roads are good and all of that, but when it comes to rain and all of that, it's a different ball game that you will find. On a very lighter note, talking about entertainment, what's your red flag when it comes to relationships or marriage? What's your red flag? If someone has been in a relationship, let's say a year, and the next is out of it, and in another relationship in the next 6 months, 3 months, 5 months, do you think it's anything to worry about?
Yes, it's something to worry about. When a person gets into a relationship too quickly, it's a red flag. I mean, you need to pause. There needs to be a stop. For example, maybe you've had a couple of heartbreaks in the last 2 years, or say why are you in a relationship 4 times in 1 year? I mean, how do you go about it? Take, for instance, in January, you were in a relationship, and in March, you're out of it. And before you know it, in April, you're in another relationship. And in June, July, you're out of it. And the circle goes on. I think it's a red flag because it just shows that you're not pausing to think. How much more a marriage? We've seen cases where people say, if you've been in marriages, 2, 3 marriages, there's been a lot of controversy recently as to how many times a person should be married before considered a red flag. For example, if you have been divorced at least 2 times, some people say that it's a huge red flag. But do we now say that if you have been married more than 2 times and it didn't work out, you should not consider marriage again? I think no.
They say 3rd time is a charm.
Okay, but in marriage, when you go to the altar, you walk down the aisle 3 times, and then you're walking down the 4th time, you're walking down the 5th time. I mean, are you the commissioner of marriages in Nigeria? But where I think everybody deserves love. Everybody deserves love, care, and attention. Everybody deserves to be with someone that they love. But the timing also matters. It just shows that, because if you were truly heartbroken, you fear for getting into a relationship too quickly, because this time you want to be more careful. You want to take your time to study the person so that you don't have a repeat of whatever happened in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or even 4th relationship or marriage. But in a situation where the time frame is just so short, you're coming out of a relationship or a marriage. If it's a relationship, it could be, I could pardon it, but a marriage you're coming out of in less than 1 year, and you're getting into another marriage again, and not just the 2nd one, maybe the 3rd or the 4th or the 5th marriage, is a call for concern, because you should be. It just shows that you don't care about yourself, or you're not, most definitely not the victim in those marriages, and then that's why you have so much courage, or you're so certain about getting married again for the 5th time or the 4th time again in that short period of time. So I think that particularly for your health and the mental health of the person you're getting married to, so that you don't bring in baggages from your previous marriages and relationship, you want to take some time to pause, reflect. What has happened? Marriage is a whole lot of commitment. Talk more of a 1st marriage, a 2nd marriage, and 3rd, 4th, or even 5th, getting into a 5th marriage, or a 3rd marriage, 1st and 2nd marriage, and getting into a 3rd marriage. It's a whole lot of commitment. So you want to pause and reflect. What's happening? Why am I in and out of marriages before you get into another commitment? Because so that you don't make, even if you're not the victim, or even if you were the victim, so that you don't make certain mistakes again. So I think marriage is a very serious institution. But again, I think everyone deserves love. So the perspective going around that if you've been married 1st time, 2nd time, you don't deserve to be married again, I mean, no. But I think that the timing should be considered thoroughly. You're deserving of love, care, and attention, and of that special person. But a situation where you're married in such short period of time is a call for concern.
But the truth is, some people say that's the fastest way they get healing. Some people say, well, it doesn't matter if it didn't work out. I'm not the kind of person that would just cry about it, start reflecting and wasting time. And some people love really fast. No. Won't you consider those?
No, that's a red flag. It means that you're just moved by emotions and not necessarily. You have to be logical sometimes, because
really,
yes, it's a red flag. If you want to quickly, you're out of a relationship in 1 week, you're in another one. That's a huge red flag. You're a walking red sea, moving red banner. So yeah,
did you just say moving red?
Moving red sea.
So wait, when is it subtle? Is it when it comes to the male or the female? When can you overlook this, in quotes, red flag?
You don't, for both of them. I don't think it's something to overlook. We should overlook, because why are you getting in a relationship? It means that you are not emotionally stable. Yes, that's what it means. You just have to rely on somebody for, So they say before you get married, before you fall in love, you should be in love with yourself first.
Yeah, true.
So what that means is that you cannot be
if you cannot give love if you don't have love
yourself.
Yes.
And then you have to always lean on someone for emotional support and all of that, and so it's a red flag. All
right, talking about red flags, but at this point,
so what is your red flag? You asked that, and I did say my red flag. So what is your red flag in a relationship? I know that for sure, because you've always talked about it. You can't stand an abusive.
No, because there's so much domestic violence going around now. You can see that a woman can just get up and stab her husband. The man can versa versa do the same thing. Red flag is when you do not give that avenue to express yourself. If you do not, and you try to curtail and, hey, stop, that's a red flag for me. And then a red flag is when you do not support the individual's dream. My mom will say characters like smoke. For as long as you try to conceal it, you cannot hide it forever. It will come out one day. So there's so many red flags. But meanwhile, we have to go on. We're going quickly to AM News. And then immediately after AM News, Taste and Texture comes up next. Keep it locked. Do not go anywhere. Stay tuned.
For an insightful idea that takes the center stage and the conversation that gets beyond the headlines, to explore the lasting impact of political decisions, Big Talk got you covered. From policy debates to geopolitical insights, from thought-provoking discussions to actionable insight.
What is the real responsibility of government?
Big Talk delves deep into the heart of the matter. Join us weekdays on global televisions from 6:30 p.m. for a reverting journey into the heart of politics, where we dissect issues shaping our society.
With every government and introduction of new policies, businesses of all kinds and sizes seize the opportunity to evolve and redefine themselves. Business Point on global television is where we follow the money and put the facts and figures right in front of you. Watch Business Point every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. as Kikelamo Okeri tracks all the latest developments across critical sectors. Business Point, this is business.
Are you ready to be entertained like never before? Get ready to dive into the latest and greatest entertainment news in lifestyle, music, movies, birthday celebration, and so much more, all on Entertainment Circle on global television. From the hottest red carpet event to exclusive interviews with your favorite stars, we've got you covered. Stay up to date with the latest trends and news from the entertainment world, all in one place. Tune in every Saturday by 1 p.m. with Chung and Emil Joseph on global television.
In an ever-busy world, the increasing challenge of keeping track of health matters can be extremely demanding. Follow the latest health tips and trends on Health Guide on Global Television on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Health Guide on Global Television. Put your health first. Get ready for it. Inside Today brings you issues relating to family, peer pressure, drugs, substance abuse, societal and topical issues making rounds. Join Jumaine Manson on Global Television Monday to Thursday and a repeat every Friday. Time 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Don't miss out.
Are you a food lover? Do you care about your health and nutrition? Are you interested in exploring the diverse culinary traditions from around the world? Then look no further. Introducing Lunch Global on Global Television, a show that takes you on a delicious journey through the world of food, nutrition, and diet. So, whether you're a seasoned foodie, a health enthusiast, or simply curious about the world of food, Lunch Global has something for everyone. Tune in Mondays to Fridays and let your taste bud take you on a journey of flavor, culture, and discovery on Lunch Global. Bon appetit!
Time check. It's midday. Then it's Midday Discourse. Midday Discourse is a program that covers trending local and international news, current issues, and human-related topics. Join Samuel Odi weekdays 1 p.m. on Global Television. The discussion starts here.
It's time for sports' biggest moments on Global Television. The headlines, scores, breaking news, and commentaries on sporty events. Talking with the biggest players, strikers, and about the slam dunks and goals, stunning saves, near misses, and upsets. Let's talk about the greatest home runs, comebacks, knockdowns, and victories. Talk sports with the king of sports, Anthony Momodou. Weekdays, 10 a.m. Don't miss out.
Hello, children. Gather around, let me tell you a story. Do you know that stories have a way of captivating the minds of children, bringing fun and imagination to teach them morals? Join Sharon Ajay as she takes you to explore the thrilling and exciting world of storytelling.
I'll be sharing with you our next interesting story.
Tune in every Saturday on Global Television, time 5:30 p.m.
Is the desk on Global Television?
Nigeria. Come join Anthony Momodou on television's most compelling and facts-finding talk live show.
We are definitely.
Can we not say that
dynamic because
that this country gets it right?
It's the Dex on Global Television, where we analyze and dissect storming issues and commentaries in the world's biggest black nation, Nigeria.
Who is being held accountable for this money?
The eyes have it.
We stay and decide policies and reforms on the Dex. Tune in Mondays to Fridays, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Global Television. Let's stay on the Dex.
Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofrebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodou.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumaine Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television, getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the Global Morning team.
For an insightful idea that takes the center stage and the conversation that gets beyond the headlines, to explore the lasting impact of political decisions, Big Talk got you covered. From policy debates to geopolitical insights, from thought-provoking discussions to actionable insight.
What is the real responsibility of government?
Big Talk delves deep into the heart of the matter. Join us weekdays on Global Televisions from 6:30 p.m. for a reverting journey into the heart of politics, where we dissect issues shaping our society.
Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to AM News on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Jumai Manson. Now the news in full. Senators have rejected the prayer seeking to stop service chiefs from diverting funds meant for purchasing security equipment to building universities and purchasing yachts. This came to the fore while the lawmakers were contributing to the motion on the suicide attacks in Goza, Borno State. The urgency to stem the tide of this ugly menace moved by Ali Indume. Indume brought the issue of the attack on his community to the Senate, urging security agencies to deploy the use of modern technology in the fight against insecurity. Nigeria's electricity distribution companies, DISCOs, have announced an upward review of electricity tariffs for Band A customers. In a statement posted on their X handle, some of the nation's distribution companies disclosed that the upward review took effect on July 1st, 2024. The Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company, in a statement issued by its acting managing director, Francis Agoha, said the tariff would be adjusted from 206.80 Naira per kilowatt an hour to 209.50 Naira to an hour. A bill to allow Nigerians living abroad obtain the National Identity Number (NIN) has passed the second reading at the Senate on. The bill, sponsored by the Deputy Senate President, Senator Barau Jibrin, was first read on June 5th. It seeks to repeal the National Identity Management Commission Act 2007. It provides for the establishment of a national identity database, and the NIMC is charged with the responsibilities of the maintenance of the national database, the registration of individuals, and the issuance of identity credentials. The House of Representatives has called on all stakeholders to submit memoranda for consideration on the ongoing process of restructuring government agencies by the House. Speaking at a news conference in Abuja, Chairman Special Committee on Restructuring of Federal Agency and Commissions, Ibrahim Isiaka, also invited all interested individuals and organizations to a public hearing on the Orono Soya report and other related matters on Wednesday, 10th July. The federal government has launched a new initiative to establish an operating model and framework for economic and financial inclusion aimed at transforming Nigeria into 1 trillion Naira economy by 2030. The project is designed to combat poverty and catalyze sustainable economic growth for the ground up. Vice President Kashim Shettima said the initiative symbolizes the commitment of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration in enhancing financial and economic inclusion across the country. Shettima spoke during the kickoff meeting for the initiative to set up an operating model for economic and financial inclusion for the office of the Vice President. The Senate asked the federal government to further expand the renewed Hope Legacy road infrastructure project in the country to include the Northeast region. It specifically asked the Ministry of Works to include the Calabar, Makurdi, Jalingo, Yola, Maiduguri Highway, which will integrate the Northeast into the Legacy Infrastructure Road project in the country. The Edo State Pension Bureau has commenced the screening of 900 pensioners who retired from service from 2014 and 2015. Speaking to journalists at the State Pension Bureau's office in Benin City, the representative of the Permanent Secretary Chairman of Edo State Pension Bureau, Ambrose Ahato, said the exercise is aimed at clearing the backlog owed by various administrations. The chairman of the bureau noted that the screening exercise has brought smiles to the faces of pensioners, urging pensioners to use the golden opportunity to make themselves available for the screening exercise. The House of Representatives has mandated its Committee on Basic Education to investigate the internally generated revenue of the West African Examination Council, WAEC, from 2018 to 2023. The House arrived at a resolution after considering a motion brought on its floor during plenary by the member representing Isiaq Woto Federal Constituency of Abia State, Amobi Aga. Amobi, while leading the debate, noted that WAEC Local is fully treasury funded from the Federation account. The Senate has passed for the first reading bill seeking to create 2 additional Southeast states to increase states in the region to 7. This was as a bill seeking the creation of Ekiti State in the southeast geopolitical zone was read for the first time on the floor of the House of Representatives during plenary. The development comes about 3 weeks after another bill seeking the creation of Oru State out of Imo, Abia, and Anambra State similarly passed the first reading on June 6th. The states proposed separately by Senators Ned Nwoko and Okechukwu Ezie are the Amoma and Adada states, respectively. The Legal Practitioner Privilege Committee has shortlisted 98 lawyers from a pool of applicants seeking the conferment of Senior Advocate of Nigeria's SAN rank for 2024. The shortlisted applicants will proceed to the second stage of the selection process, which includes interviews and reviews of petitions that members of the public may send regarding them. The House of Representatives has resolved to investigate promotion stagnation in the federal civil service from 2013 to 2023. The resolution was a sequel to a motion moved by Salma Idris, the Deputy Chairman, House Committee on Agriculture, College and Institutions in Abuja. He said that the promotion remained the progression of civil service as well as a motivational incentive for productivity. Kano State High Court adjourned until Thursday to hear all pending applications in the suit filed by the Kano State government against the disposed 15th Emir of Kano, Aminu Audu Bayero, and others. The State Attorney General, the Speaker of the Kano State House of Assembly, and the State House of Assembly, through their counsel Ibrahim Isa Wangidas, filed a motion ex parte dated May 27th. The applicants are seeking an order of the court restraining Bayero and 4 other dethroned emirs of Bichi, Rano, Gaya, and Karaye from parading themselves as traditional rulers. Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Tugas says Nigeria is working to deepen bilateral relations with the United States. In accordance with Nigeria's foreign policy thrust under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Tugas stated this at the 248th U.S. Independence Anniversary dinner organized by the U.S. Embassy in Abuja on Tuesday. The minister says deepening Nigerian-U.S. ties would further cement their many years of cooperation and friendship. The federal government has ordered the computation of accrued pension of serving federal civil servants. A memo by the Office of the Head of Civil Servants of the Federation says the move was in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance and will focus on employees who were employed on or before June 30th, 2024. The memo says the move will enable the government to plan ahead of time towards the early release of the entitlement of the workers. The United Nations Development Programme has urged security agencies to prioritize the protection of civilians and humanitarian workers during armed conflicts. The organization said doing so would help minimize casualties. The Team Lead Governance, Peace and Security Unit, UNDP, Nigerian Matthew Alao, stated this in Abuja at the inauguration of the Comprehensive Protection of Civilian Course 36, 2024. Alao, represented by Richard Olugula, noted that civilians often suffer the most in conflict zones worldwide. The federal government has warned that unauthorized disclosure or leakage of official documents capable of impacting the country negatively is a punishable offense. Secretary to Government of the Federation, George Akume, gave the warning in Abuja at a workshop organized by the Bureau for Public Service Reforms in collaboration with the Office of the Government of the Federation. Akume said unauthorized leakage of sensitive official documents constitutes a felony, insisting there is no defense for such, either in the Constitution or Freedom of Information Act. You're watching AM News, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms by using the Global TV NG and the handles now showing on your screen. When AM News returns, International Air Transport Association commends federal government for clearing $831 million foreign airline funds. This and other more stories coming right after this break. Do stay with us.
Is the desk on Global Television?
Nigeria, come join Anthony Mamadou on television's most compelling and facts-finding talk live show.
We are definitely because
that this country gets it right.
It's the Dex on Global Television, where we analyze and dissect storming issues and commentaries in the world's biggest black nation, Nigeria.
Who is being held accountable for this money?
The eyes have it.
We stay and decide policies and reforms on the Dex. Tune in Mondays to Fridays, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Global Television. Let's stay on the Dex.
Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofwebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the Global Morning team.
You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is Global Television bringing you live broadcasts of AM News. Thank you for staying with us. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMNET, has predicted thunderstorms and rains from yesterday to Friday across the country. NIMNET's weather outlook released in Abuja predicted morning thunderstorms over parts of Jigawa, Kano, Katsina, Sokoto, Kebbi, Zamfara, Taraba, and Adamawa State. The agency stated that afternoons and evening thunderstorms are expected over parts of Adamawa, Taraba, Jalingo, Kaduna, Yobe, Bauchi, and Gombe State. The Senate called on the management of the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMNET, to make details of possible flooding in different parts of the country available to Nigerians. The call was made sequel to a motion sponsored by the Fastoyi Oluwole during the plenary. Oluwole, while presenting his motion, complained that flood had wreaked havoc on the Ipao, Itakweju, and Okeako communities in Ikole local government area of Ekiti State. Over now to our foreign Dex, Chizer has amended its Employment Act, introducing some changes that affect foreigners who want to reach the country for employment. According to Zech authorities, it has been made mandatory for employers requiring workers to undergo labor market testing to see whether they can hire workers from EU areas before giving the possibility to non-EU staff. United States President Joe Biden has admitted to an ally that his campaign is in jeopardy if he doesn't improve public perception following a poor debate performance. Last Friday, Biden's allies scrambled to contain the fallout from his flittering performance at the first 2024 U.S. presidential debate after his struggled to stem a barrage of attack and false claims from the Republican rival Donald Trump. The Biden campaign had hoped that a strong debate would quell concerns among voters, but the 81-year-old Democratic incumbent is too old to serve a second four-year term. Around £235 million is expected to be withdrawn from automated teller machines, ATMs, on Thursdays as people go to cast their votes. This is according to a forecast from UK Cash Assets and Cash Machine Network Link. The network expects the total to be lower than it was on December 12, 2019, when the last general election was held. On that date, which resulted in Boris Johnson returning to Downing Street as Conservative Prime Minister, £322 million was withdrawn. Territorial rains in northeast India has sparked heavy flooding, killing at least 4 people, government disaster officials said. More than 1 million people have been impacted by floods, according to government figures. Monsoon rains cause widespread destruction every year. But experts say climate change is shifting weather patterns and increasing the number of extreme weather events. Disaster authorities in the northeastern state of Assam said 38 people have been killed since mid-May when heavy rains battered the state. triggering for floods and landslides. On business, Vice President Kashim Shettima has called for the patronization for local content and promotion of made-in-Nigerian products, citing that exclusive Order 003, which makes the patronage of locally manufactured products mandatory, is still in effect. Shettima also said the federal government has partnered with the Manufacturing Association of Nigeria to devise an actionable roadmap and policy framework that will refurbish the nation's manufacturing sector. He affirmed that the roadmap and policy framework will be speedily implemented to effect the needed changes that will revamp the sector. The Vice President, who declared open the 3-day National Manufacturing Policy Summit, regretted that the sector had endured a series of setbacks over past decades. The International Air Transport Association has praised the Nigerian government for its swift action in clearing the backlog of foreign airlines trapped funds, amounting to over $831 million. This was disclosed in a statement signed by the Special Advisor Media and Communications to the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo. Tunde Moshood. The International Air Transport Association confirmed that the Central Foreign Airline trapped funds worth $831 million from June last year to date. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited said it has declared a state of emergency on oil production. It said it was a move towards increasing Nigeria's crude oil production and growing its reserves. Group Chief Executive Officer of NNPCL, Mele Kyari, disclosed this in a keynote address at the opening of the 23rd edition of the Nigerian Oil and Gas Conference and Exhibition Week in Abuja. Over now to the Central Bank of Nigeria has warned against the continued rejection of old series and lower denominations of the United States of American dollars by its regulated entities in Nigeria. In a circular dated June 27th and signed by the acting director of the Currency Operations Department, Soloja Olayemi, the bank threatened to sanction lenders that reject the currencies. The circular directed at deposit money banks, bureau de change operators, and the general public cautioned against the continued rejection of the old series and lower denominations of the American greenback. The House of Representatives has stated that its readiness to investigate allegations of the misappropriation of over 2 trillion naira disbursed by the Central Bank of Nigeria through its Anchor Borrower Scheme to fund agriculture initiatives across the country. The resolution of the House followed the adoption of a motion on the alleged mismanagement of government's agricultural initiatives and funding by departments, agencies, and government programs outside the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, sponsored by Chike Okafor. Leading the debate on the floor of the House during the plenary, Okafor, who represents Ehime Umbano, Eheti Umbabo Obawo Federal Constituency of Imo State, expressed worry over the growing food scarcity and malnutrition of Nigerians in this alleged mismanagement of agricultural funds meant for the development of the sector. He said the House notes that the federal government, through various schemes and interventions in the last 8 years, spent over 2 trillion naira in funding agricultural interventions with a view of making food available for millions of Nigerians. Estate surveyors and valuers have called on state government to streamline the processes of obtaining land titles, removing bureaucratic hurdles and impediments that hinder economic growth by simplifying and expediting land titling. The estate experts said the government can unlock the full potential of landowners, boost economic development, and increase revenue through taxation. Speaking during the one-day business forum held in Enugu, stakeholders explained that efficient land titling process will encourage investment, create jobs, and enhance overall economic growth. They urged down owners in Nigeria to obtain titles for their properties, which would increase their value and boost confidence. On sports, Ogun State will host the inaugural Southwest Athletics Conference from Thursday, July 4th to 5th in Abeokuta, the state capital, in the bid to revitalize athletics in the Southwest region. Secretary of the organizing committee, Enefok Edo Obong, said the two-day conference seeks to galvanize support for the athletes in the region and has also served as a framework for identifying and nurturing talented players in the next 4 years. After missing the World Table Tennis Contender event in Lagos in tennis last month, Quadri Aruna is back in action at the tournament star contender Bangkok 2024 in Thailand. As one of the top seeds in the men's single, the Nigerian aims to bluster its ranking points ahead of the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. Currently ranked 16th by International Table Tennis Federation, Aruna could secure a spot among the top 16 seeds in the men's single in Paris, with only 2 of the 5 top-ranked Chinese players competing. Aruna stands out as a sole African star competing against a star-studded lineup in Bangkok, taking place at the indoor stadium. After weeks of speculation, the Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) has unveiled the final roster for the Super Falcons Olympic squad in Paris. Head coach Randy Waldrum opted for a blend of experience and youth, with captain Rasheedat Ajibade, goalkeeper Chiamaka Inadozie, and defender Osinachi Ohele joined the squad alongside star forward Azizat Oshoala. 14 other players round out the final list, including defenders Oluwatosin Dahine and Michelle Alozie, midfielders Deborah Abiodun, Halimatu Ayinde, Christy Ochebe, and Tony Payne, and forwards Esther Okoronkwo, Chinwendu Ehezuo, and Uchenna Kanu. As we end the AM News, let's take a quick look at our top stories again. We brought to you that the federal government has begun competition of fast-track retirees' pension payment. Nigerian National Petroleum Company has declared state of emergency on oil production. And on the foreign scene, South Africa has inaugurated new unity government. And in sports, Ogun State IDE scheduled to host Southwest Athletics Conference. To end the AM News, here's a quick look on some of our top stories. And that's it on AM News, and it came to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We are on Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms by using @Global TV Engine at the handles now showing on your screen. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching. Good morning.
For an insightful idea that takes the center stage and the conversation that gets beyond the headlines, to explore the lasting impact of political decisions, Big Talk got you covered. From policy debates to geopolitical insights, from thought-provoking discussions to actionable insight.
What is the real responsibility of government?
Big Talk delves deep into the heart of the matter. Join us weekdays on global televisions from 6:30 p.m. for a reverting journey into the heart of politics, where we dissect issues shaping our society.
With every government and introduction of new policies, businesses of all kinds and sizes seize the opportunity to evolve and redefine themselves. Business Point on Global Television is where we follow the money and put the facts and figures right in front of you. Watch Business Point every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. as Kikelamo Okere tracks all the latest developments across critical sectors. Business Point. This is business.
Are you...
On Taste and Texture, I'm Fatimi Aboma. Today we'll be making a new twisted kind of northern dish, Brabisco, but this time with gari. Brabisco, which is also pronounced as Brabisco, is a traditional couscous meal that hails from the northern Maiduguri, Borno State. This meal is quick and easy to prepare. The primary ingredient for making this food is couscous. Couscous is also known as Brabisco in some northern parts of Nigeria and is made from corn or wheat grain. Nevertheless, in preparing this meal, couscous is sometimes substituted with gari. When gari is used in preparing this food, lukewarm water is added to it. The gari is then stirred with a fork so that it doesn't form solid mold. The small disjointed lumps of gari are what is required in preparing Brabisco. Other ingredients used in making this food are shredded chicken, green pepper, spring onions, vegetable oil, seasoning cubes, onion, garlic, ginger, chili pepper, and salt. the ingredients that make this food delicious and delightful. It also makes it one of the luxurious dishes of northern Nigeria. Brabisco can be prepared as jollof, but when it is served plain, it is paired with spicy stew of meat and vegetable. This meal allegedly helps to boost the immune system. It also aids in weight loss. Team Fit Farm. This is another delicious meal that you can add to your menu. Brabisco can be served at any time of the day. This delicacy can be best enjoyed with chilled soft drink or chilled zobo. So if you have not tasted this food before and you're thinking of something different to make with gari, try making Brabisco. Assuredly, you'll be pleasantly surprised and amazed. The ingredients needed for this Brabisco dish are 1 cup of gari, 1 cup of chopped vegetable, green pepper, a handful of chopped onions, 1 cup of shredded chicken, 1 tablespoon of butter, 2 cooking spoons of groundnut oil, seasoning cubes, 2 cloves of garlic, 1 tablespoon of grated ginger, 1 teaspoon of chili powder, and now let's make it. Wash and season the shredded chicken with ginger, garlic, and seasoning. In a pan, heat up the butter or groundnut oil and stir in the shredded chicken. Sprinkle the chili pepper and taste for seasoning and add more as needed. Once the chicken has browned and is cooked, add the vegetables and stir in. In a separate bowl, add some steeped water to the gari and stir with a fork so it doesn't form a solid mold. Pour in your chicken and vegetables into the bowl of gari and stir till properly combined. Serve warm and enjoy. That's all for today. See you same time next time for another scrumptious episode of Taste and Texture. Bye.
It's time for sports' biggest moments on global television. The headlines, scores, breaking news, and commentaries on sporty events. Talking with the biggest players, strikers, and about the slam dunks and goals, stunning saves, near misses, and upsets. Let's talk about the greatest home runs, comebacks, knockdowns, and victories. Talk sports with the king of sports, Anthony Momodu. Weekdays, 10 a.m. Don't miss out.
Hello, children. Gather round, let me tell you a story. Do you know that stories have a way of captivating the minds of children, bringing fun and imagination to teach them morals? Join Sharon Ajay as she takes you to explore the thrilling and exciting world of storytelling.
I'll be sharing with you our next interesting story.
Tune in every Saturday on Global Television, time 5:30 p.m.
Is the desk on Global Television?
Nigeria. Come join Anthony Momodu on television's most compelling and facts-finding talk live show.
We are definitely. Can we not say that them because
that this country gets it right?
It's the Dex on Global Television, where we analyze and dissect storming issues and commentaries in the world's biggest black nation, Nigeria.
Who is being held accountable for this money?
The eyes have it.
We stay and decide policies and reforms on the Dex. Tune in Mondays to Fridays, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Global Television. Let's stay on the Dex.
Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofwebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective,
I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the Global Morning team.
For an insightful idea that takes the center stage and the conversation that gets beyond the headlines, to explore the lasting impact of political decisions, Big Talk got you covered. From policy debates to geopolitical insights, from thought-provoking discussions to actionable insight.
What is the real responsibility of government?
Big Talk delves deep into the heart of the matter. Join us weekdays on Global Televisions from 6:30 p.m. for a reverting journey into the heart of politics, where we dissect issues shaping our society.
All right, you're welcome back. And yes, that was AM News. And then, of course, that beautiful segment of Taste and Texture, talking about Briscoe with lots of vegetables, healthy, and, of course, really, really delicious. And, of course, have you ever had Briscoe before?
Briscoe? No, I haven't.
No, it's a very delicious northern delicacy. You should try it. And, of course, up next is Business with Kikelomo Okere. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to Business Report. The latest telecommunication data released by the National Bureau of Statistics has revealed that 3 states, Lagos, Ogun, and Kano, accounted for 23% of the country's total active mobile subscription as of first quarter of 2024. According to the Bureau, total active mobile subscription in Nigeria at the end of the first quarter stood at 219.3 million, showing a 3.3% decline from 226.1 million reported in the first quarter of 2023. The state emerged as the top 3 by having the highest number of mobile subscriptions, with a combined 50.5 million active mobile lines. The data shows that Lagos, known as the commercial nerve center of the country, maintained the lead with 25.9 million active subscriptions, following by Ogun, which recorded 12.6 million subscriptions at the end of first quarter of 2024. Kano came third with 11.9 million active subscriptions. On the other hand, Bayelsa recorded the least mobile subscription with 1.6 million subscriptions, followed by Ebonyi and Ekiti with 1.8 million and 1.9 million respectively. In terms of internet connection, Lagos State still came first with the highest number of active internet subscribers in the first quarter of 2024 with 18.8 million, followed by Ogun with 9.5 million and Kano with 9 million. Again, Bayelsa recorded the least internet connection with 1.2 million, followed by Ebonyi and Ekiti with 1.4 million and 1.5 million respectively. Bitcoin, the primary crypto asset, has fallen below its $61,000 price level in the early hour of today, with the asset now trading for $60,400. The crypto asset has fallen from $62,000 yesterday to $60,400, representing a 3% decline in price value over the last 24 hours. The decline in Bitcoin price affected other major crypto assets, with Ethereum, Solana, and Dogecoin all witnessed a 3% drop in price as well. Bitcoin drop in price value can be attributed to various pressures, the most significant being an impending major activities on the MTGOX exchange. The now defunct MTGOX exchange is expected to begin its distribution of Bitcoin this month. QCP Capital, a Singapore-based crypto firm, shed more light on this issue in an Instagram broadcast to its nearly 14,000 members. Despite the drop in price value due to the looming MTGOX activity, Bitcoin has maintained a support level above $60,000, and Ethereum has not fallen below $3,300. These are positive signs according to the QCP Capital. Citi is optimistic that gold investment demand will rise to absorb all mine supply over the next 12 to 18 months, according to a new framework report. This follows gold investment demand in China and central banks around the world, which has risen to over 85% of mine supply during the first quarter of 2024. The increase in investment demand and price comes from a forecast of normalization of U.S. interest rates, driving exchange trade fund demand higher in particular. Citi's research also found that gold prices have dramatically outperformed real rates since the third quarter of 2022, owing to a strong physical demand from China and central banks, while showing a steady rise of physical investment demand as the key determinant of gold pricing. The report predicted that Chinese and global central bank buying is expected to continue at current run rate, underpinned by excess saving, weak property, weak private sector sentiment, and de-dollarization respectively. Citi expressed hope that the framework in the report can help to rejuvenate gold investment and trading, since many investors have avoided investing in gold because of the lack of intuitive, regime-independent, fundamental framework that can stand the test of time. Kike Lomo Okere, Global Television News.
All right, you're welcome back from that business segment. Up next, at about now, is the paper review, and we'll be starting with the first paper of the day. We will be looking at the Daily News Hub, and it says, the caption there is, don't set Nigeria ablaze. 259 CSO civil service organizations warn intending anti-EFCC protesters. And then, of course, still on the Daily News Hub, it says iPod and Kanu ready to accept conditional release, says Abaribe. And here it says protesting youths raise INEC office in Benue. Still on the Daily News Hub, it says, I wonder how Nigeria survived despite huge amount of money stolen. EFCC chairman. And that's all the captions we have on the Daily News Hub. Now, Queen, looking at it critically, what do you think that means by EFCC protesters? Don't set Nigeria ablaze. 259 CSOs warn intending anti-EFCC protesters. Don't set Nigerians ablaze.
So why would we have anti-EFCC protesters? I've not seen the story of that. I've not read in details, but I want to be sure that when we take a look at that, the Daily News Hub, we'll read through the stories. But if people are protesting EFCC, the 259 CSOs that warn intending anti-EFCC protesters, it's because these people are... It's assumed that the protest is going to be violent. It's going to take a violent turn, like we see in the EndSARS. And so Nigeria, we're trying as much as we can to ensure that there's never a repeat of what happened in the EndSARS. Because when there's a protest, if it's not peaceful and if it's not a peaceful protest, we see people take advantage of protests like this, these kinds of protests, to either cause mayhem or disrupt the protest and all of that. So the EFCC, as far as I know, have been doing
an amazing
job in terms of uncovering crimes and probing those who have been alleged to have been involved in financial crimes, economic and financial crimes. And so if we're having an anti-EFCC protest against the EFCC, just like we had during the EndSARS protest where they were protesting EndSARS, the EndSARS protest, the CSOs that are warning it's more like an appeal to, if you're going to protest, let it be peaceful.
It's very important.
Let's not create
mayhem. Still on the Daily News Hub, I'm looking at you mentioning protests. You see, protesting youths raise INEC office in Benue. You see, my problem with destroying property is when you want to pass a message, pass it peacefully. I do not like the aspect of raising houses, burning properties, cars, and of course public service offices, and then you raise it ablaze. I think protesters in Benue, I'm sure it may be due to insecurity or due to the cost of livelihood. You can just do your protest in peace and not cause mayhem or issues for individuals or burning public office. Let's move on to the Guardian newspaper now, and can you read the caption on the Guardian?
On the front page of the Guardian newspaper, we have circular economy worries as e-waste import rises. More Nigerians resort to used items. That's the fairly used items because of the inflationary rates in the country and the economic situation that we find ourselves in. Nigerians cannot afford to buy brand new products, especially with gadgets. And we have to resort to using this report here. We have to resort to using fairly used items just so that we can survive. Manage. And then we have on the front page of the Guardian, the riders for this circular economy. Over 500,000 tons of discarded appliances are processed in the country every year. Invisible e-waste hits $10 billion in essential raw materials recoverable. 60,000 tons of used equipment shipped to Lagos ports yearly. Experts allege weak inspection, seek enforcement of Basel Convention. And lastly, stakeholders seek incentives for recycling firms, manufacturers. And we have the NERC raises tariff for Band A by 1.3% amid calls for reduction. Senate rejects motion to probe security funds used for yacht and others. So this is where what we always say here comes to play. Public funds are used for personal projects. I mean, who uses public funds to acquire personal yacht for your pleasure?
Really wrong.
Really wrong. And then we say here that governors, legislators as well, who are caught in this act are shameless to an extent, because if you are in a position where it's expected of you to do due diligence, lead and do what is expected of you, leadership, and then you go about using public funds, mismanaging public funds, it just shows that you do not have the interest of the people at heart, you do not have your priorities set, and then you do not, you are not fit to be a leader. But here in Nigeria, it almost seems like if you're not shameless, you cannot be a politician here in Nigeria. Because take, for instance, how many politicians, how many governors do we hear that are under probe with the EFCC or have been accustomed or are wanted, are declared wanted for various financial crimes? There are a lot of them. And then these people, time and time again, it's more like, okay, they call them out for economic and financial crimes, and then the pattern continues. They go to court and they're asked to pay certain fines that is not equivalent to the amount of crimes and, you know, to whatever it is that has been labeled against them. So it's a pattern. We need to fix our justice system. And then it should be, take for instance, the motion that was being moved for drug traffickers to be killed on the spot. And then we were talking about these drug traffickers being the people that you find are the lowest in the cadre of drug chain,
cartel.
The drug cartel are the lowest of the cadre. The people up there, let's not pretend like we don't know that they're the high and mighty. If we continue to, it just means that justice is not fair here in Nigeria. And so, not to go a bit further so that we can take other stories, I just think that the motion that is moved to probe private personal funds, security funds used for yacht and other private needs is good. It's not just to move the motion, but let us see it implemented. Let's see that these people are brought to book.
Very important.
On minimum wage, NLC fumes at governors move to hijack negotiations. I didn't discuss Kanu's release, Obasanjo says. We'll find that on page 29. And also we have, again, customs intercepts 1.6 billion naira worth rifles, military fatigues from Turkey. Rise in imports, foreign exchange rate spikes duty charges by 200,000 in 24 hours. EFCC accuses public servants of diverting MDAs on spent allocations. School pupils swept away, commuters stranded, properties submerged in Lagos, Ogun downpour. Yesterday, the rains were heavy, like you said,
yes,
all across the country.
All across.
And Lagos and Ibadan. This is the issue we're talking about earlier today.
Yes.
About the flood and indiscriminate waste disposal. Here we just found out that some school children were swept away, which is sad, by the flood.
Very
and
sad.
Then commuters were stranded, and passerby, pedestrians were also stranded, and they couldn't go to where they were supposed to be. I just want to reiterate that it's very important for us to practice proper waste disposal culture here in Nigeria. We saw a video of a couple trying to dispose a drum load of waste amid flooding. I mean, the area was already flooded, and we could see them turning in this waste into the flood again. And here we go again.
You know, I'm trying to understand that story. Was it that they had so much waste in their house, or what?
Yes.
Or the waste from the flood actually brought all of that into the house due to the submerge in which?
Yeah, I think, first of all, because there are no proper waste disposal facilities. Take, for instance, we don't have a place where you can dispose. You stay in a designated area that does not have a waste management system at all. You don't have the vehicles coming to pick up your waste. You don't have a designated place for turning in waste where you can incinerate them much later. There's nothing of such nature. So they wait for an opportunity for the flood to sweep this waste away, not knowing that the flood is going to, go block it somewhere. So it's not like the flood is sweeping away the waste. The flood is taking the waste and going to block other avenues where water is supposed to flow.
Other drainage
properly.
system
Yes,
to
other
flow.
Other drainage system where water is supposed to flow properly. So they're waiting for that avenue. I think proper education needs to be given. And then those who are found wanting should be convicted of such crimes, because yes, you are destroying government facilities and you are sabotaging the effort of the government. Quite frankly, we see that the Lagos State Waste Management Agency, we see what they're doing in terms of waste disposal, you see the LOMA and all of that, but people need to be sensitized. And then we also need to have designated places for waste disposal in Lagos, even in Abuja here. We need to see that happen. We need to intensify efforts. Like I mentioned, people are building houses where we're supposed to have drainage systems. And so when they begin to mark out those buildings for demolition, you see sentiment and emotions everywhere. People saying that, oh, I spent so and so billions of naira. But you have to be careful of cheap lands, and you have to be careful. You have to ensure that those lands, you get certified by the government to be able to build, so that you're not building in structures and facilities that are supposed or meant for drainage system. So yeah, people should be convicted. It's sad that Lagos and Ogun, the downpour was heavy and we have floods.
It was worse in Oshodi compared to...
Oshodi, I saw the video.
You saw the video. It was really, really bad. It was very bad. In fact, the water just came... It looked like the beach, basically. And then if you're looking at Oshodi, what will happen to places like... Banana Island, what will happen to Lekki, Azix, and all of that? What will happen to places like that? So the next paper is, we have the Daily Independent, and the caption there says, federal government unveils model to realize planned $1 trillion economy by 2030. Well, we'll have to wait and see. And then says, despite protests, this goes again, high tariff for Band A customers. And you can see a caption of this particular submerge that happened here in one of the papers. And here it says, Senate probe importation of poisonous diesel, says heads will roll. And it says Southeast Senators meet AGF, and the General Federation asks Tinubu to free Nnamdi Kanu. And still on the caption of the Daily Independent, it says Benue government imposes 24 hours curfew on Ukum local government area. Federal government moves to avert Sanu Naso strike slates meeting with officials. Tinubu advocates collaborative governance at Reps Legislative's open week. Obasanjo denies discussing Nnamdi Kanu's release with Southeast governors. Now, 2023 general election, anger trials, APC's non-payment of legal fees to lawyers. Wow. And that's a story there. It says Lagos government urges claim after 9 hours of territorial rainfall. Well, that's a big caption here. I want to discuss the part that says here, federal government unveils model to realize planned $1 trillion economy by 2023. How visible do you think that is in the kind of economy, the kind of administration in which we find ourselves? How visible do you think this plan will unfold itself? I'm sure if it turns out like this, it's going to be beneficial to individuals in society.
Yes, I completely think so. It's going to, if it turns out, that's it. It's one thing to plan, and it's another thing for us to see the plans implemented properly. But let me ask a question. I don't want to be anti-government, but we can judge from trajectory what has happened.
Yes.
What has not just happened, but what has been able to be repetitive, what has happened repetitively successful, what has been repeatedly successfully planned and implemented. These are the questions that we would ask. Someone says that it's foolish to think that to do one thing over and over and over again and expect a different
result.
So it's good that the federal government plans that Nigeria will become a $1 trillion economy by 2030. Of course, we are rich. They call us the giants of Africa. We have every resource that we need at our beck and call, but these resources are unevenly managed, they are not properly managed. And then policies and implementations, we have some of the weirdest policies that you can ever think of. And so I strongly believe that Nigeria can become a $1 trillion economy. And even by 2030, if we have policies that are well taught and properly implemented and followed. We have the problem of consistency in terms of leadership, government, and policy, not just formulation, but policy implementation as well. So I believe so, but I want to see how we can start now, because if we're talking about 2030 is 6 years away from now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Just 6 years away from now. And we need to see it from now. We should have seen...
Plans should be ongoing now.
We should have seen... we should have seen that we're gearing towards a $1 trillion economy by 2030 from today, because we can see clearly. But today, what do we see? We see there's inflation, there's insecurity, and insecurity is security is very pivotal to the growth of any economy.
Very true.
We have saboteurs. Talk about the new rails that was created recently. The rail tracks, and then the trains and train stations.
Exactly.
We now have track vandals who have vandalized this.
Yes.
Have we put that in check? Do we have measures? Do we have checkpoints?
A friend of mine told me, she says, we know how well this the train system came into play from Abuja to Kaduna. Smooth ride, amazing. I was part of the people that traveled by train. It was by rail. It was amazing. But now she says, at the moment, as we speak, she has 3 rides that have not been completed because the train service are actually owing her. So you can imagine, like you said, vandals going to vandalize the train track. It's something that we should look into. And with all of this, I feel, how possible is it that we'll get to the $1 trillion in 2023? Well, we'll just hold back and we'll just see how well it plays out. But with what we see, the high cost of living, we see protests of high cost of living. The last one we saw was in Niger. We saw what happened when the 6 geopolitical zones were supposed to open the bans out when it came to food. How many people actually benefited from that? Most people will tell you they did not. So let's see how well this way. I love the point you said. You said, let us start now, which is important. Let's not wait till 2025, 2026 and say, okay, we have 6 years. Before you know it, within the twinkling of an eye, we'll get to 2030. And then we're still waiting and trying to look at, okay, $1 trillion is too far off. What happened to the CNG buses that were supposed to get May 1st, Workers' Day? Till now, we're still waiting to see that. But let's see. Hope the federal government will be able to convince us and get this a $1 trillion economy by 2030. Now, still on the newspaper of the Daily Independent, despite protests, Disco's again high tariff for Band A customers. You know, a lot of people, which band are you on? Someone say Band Z. I always ask Anthony this question.
I'm Band Z. I think I'm a Band Z member.
Despite the hike, really, this is really a cause for concern. The hike that is ongoing when it comes to electricity is really a cause for concern. When it comes to Band A, Band B, Band C, we do not know. Band A and Band C are not being talked about. It's just the Band A, because they use a lot of light. But in which community do you get 24 hours light? Like, seriously?
Yeah, 24. We've not seen that happen. But the power, it depends on the areas so far. And then the power situation in some areas have been fair. But not, say fair, when I say fair, maybe 15 hours. And I think that's the most I've heard that so far. I don't think I've heard of 24 hours power supply.
Okay. The next paper, please. Let's check.
The next paper would be the Leadership newspaper, The Leadership. And on the front page, big story, ASU, crisis in universities, ASU warms up as non-academic staff begin strike today. The writer says, FG yet to meet our demands, according to lecturers. We're in wide consultation to avert strike, officials say. And then we have federal government targets $1 trillion economy by 2030. launches initiative. Okay, there's an initiative launch like we didn't see in the but I hope again that it kickstarts today and is properly implemented. Customs seizes assorted arms, drones, and others at Lagos airport. Kudos to the Nigerian custom for that. These are the stories we have on the front page of the Leadership newspaper.
ASU wants up strike. How we keep going back and forth with ASU, and they do. We know, and mostly, I think the federal government does not understand is at the detriment of our children who are at the university, who time is being wasted and all of that, delaying their graduation process. It's so sad to see that they do not understand that once they do not do the needful when it comes to attending to the academic staff union, it affects the children who are in the universities, and that is why. For those who are still here, it's because they cannot afford to jackpot like other well-meaning Nigerians who are buoyant enough to take their children out of this particular educational system in which we find ourselves in Nigeria. They have actually taken their kids out of this country for them to study because they know that the educational policy in which we have in Nigeria, it's not moving forward, nor is it moving backward. I thought we're done with this ASU going on strike and all of that affecting the educational pattern of our children. It's so sad.
It's really sad, absolutely. You know, the issue of ASU and NASU has been coming for a long time. As far back as I can remember, when I was in school, I think I was delayed an extra 2 years.
Yeah, I was also.
Yes, literally everybody has experienced this strike action, and that has delayed them or deterred them from getting to the peak of their academics. And you know what this does to you as an individual. Students in school who are supposed to do a 4-year course, a 5-year course, are spending 6, 7, 8 years.
Exactly.
And it draws them back because that break that you have amid schools and studies, sometimes it even happens in the course of your exam. You have exam next week, and the next thing you're hearing,
you're going on strike. It's so
there's
painful.
That distortion. You cannot study. You cannot have consistency. It distorts you. A lot of people get pregnant, get married, do a lot of things, and they drop out. It's discouraging as well. So let's not even talk about the fate of the lecturers. Can lecturers be paid duly? When due, and can they be well compensated as well? Because we see that because of this strike, because of these delayed salaries and all of that, they begin to extort the students.
Oh yes.
Let's not even talk about extortions in universities where you have to buy different handouts at ridiculous prices, or else you'll be at a loss in terms of your grades, your scores, and all of that. So the issue, can we go past this ASU strike now? I mean, it's 2024. If we don't talk about it, if we don't deal with it, if we don't put it to an end, these are the issues we're talking about. Education, strikes in universities, when will it stop? Security, insecurity, when will it stop? And then we're moving towards a $1 trillion economy by 2030.
I think we should
have the basics have not been fixed
exactly.
Yet.
My point exactly. You know, there's this little I call her my goddaughter. Her project is being delayed because this lecturer actually mentioned to her the last batch that did their project paid 150,000 naira just to collect your project, or he wants to sign. She has to pay a lot of money. I was like, for what? He was like, that's why her project is being delayed, because she cannot afford over 200,000 naira to give a lecture. I said, where do you expect her? Her parents actually went through a lot to see her through school. And I said, okay, do you think we should, do the needful? She was like, no. She's scared and all of that, the stigmatization attached to it and all of that. But it is so sad that some lecturers actually still, with all of these things that they see going on, that some lecturers also, with all of these things that are going on with their strike action, and of course there's a word I'm looking. No. Their colleagues. They see some of these things. They are being in the process of being, when you catch them unawares, and all of these things that happen, the scandals around it. That's the word I was looking for. Scandals around it, and yet they still do all of these things, making it look as if it's the fault of the students. It is not. It's the fault of the federal government not to pay them their right, their salaries as when due, the increment of their salaries. They shouldn't put that anger on the children, or by dragging them and giving them all of these terms and conditions before you get your projects and all of that. I think it's sad. I think the educational background of Nigeria needs to be checked before we go into other things that are when the nitty-gritty needs to be checked.
Let me also add that while I think that the government needs to do its part in terms of remunerating these lecturers, paying them their salaries as it went due, and ensuring and seeing to the welfare of our universities, lecturers, staffs, and the structure of the Nigerian university. Let me reiterate that it is not right, regardless whether the government pays your salary now on, to extort a student or harass a student. Now, when we talk about extorting students, having them to pay exorbitant amounts for handouts, and then we're not talking about harassment. Is that also the fault of the federal government? Because the federal government did not pay you? Because some federal governments are just wired to be dysfunctional. Because how do you, now it's not even, on no account, I don't think whether or not your old salaries, should you extort a student or harass a student to pay you money or sleep with you or have an affair with you before you give them good grades, because we've seen that happen time and time again. Some of them have been called out. I like that people are becoming bold enough to call out lecturers to their bullshit, sorry to use that word, but to the things that they do. And we have them filmed already. The pictures and videos of them are out on the internet, and no student, because sometimes a lot of students fear being victimized by other lecturers. Okay,
very true.
So it's a cartel, it's a chain, it's
it is.
Cabal. I mean, it should stop. We should put an end to it. But the few people that we've seen come out, take pictures or videos of these lecturers and call them out by the wrongs that they've been doing, have been fine. So it's all in your head sometimes that, you know, oh, what if I do this and do that? Because they create that fear around the students that, you know, if you try anything, you're going to be dealt with. But no. And let me put it to you that you are not at the mercy of any lecturer. How many people have graduated from the university? This is not to say that education is a joke. No, it's not a joke. But how many people have graduated from the university and are using their certificates? People would hold you accountable. People will consider you employable by the skills. So it's not just
and what you bring to the table. And just to add to what you have said, Queen, people now employ you based on your experience. It doesn't matter what you read in school. Do you have the experience? Can you deliver? When you can deliver, you are good to go. So you shouldn't be held bent or mercy of any lecturer. I think that's a very topical issue.
I think we should dedicate a day to talk about it.
We should.
The whole of our review time.
Exactly. So let's move on to the next paper, and we will be looking at the New Telegraph. Let's look at the New Telegraph, and please go ahead.
The New Telegraph, the front page, big story. Akpabio blames Gwoza suicide attacks on security intelligence failure. Haps on preventive security. Senators stress use of modern war facilities. Return of suicide bombings worries CAN, the Christian Association of Nigeria. Then we have, again, NEC hikes electricity tariff for Band A customers. Despite their cries for a reduction, they go ahead and, you know, it's just like they step on the accelerator.
Exactly.
CBN to penalize banks rejecting old mutilated Naira notes. Nigeria needs collective efforts to surmount challenges, Tinubu says. A speaker earned 400,000 Naira monthly, 25 million Naira allowances.
He's always bringing up stuff.
He says, as a speaker, I earned 400,000 Naira monthly, and his allowances was 25 million Naira.
Like, are you kidding me right now?
So that's what they mean by they say, my salary is, you know, some speakers will come out and say, my salary is 400,000 Naira. But we know that you drive exotic cars. How do you earn 400,000 Naira?
He just said 25.
So they just tell us that my salary is like every other Nigerian. Sometimes they tell you the salary is 200,000, 400,000 Naira. But you have PAs, you have maids, you have drivers, you have exotic.
You have allowances of 25 million. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, your allowance is 25 million Naira. This is just the, in quote, the 25 million Naira. We know of the other allowances that come in here and there and all
when
it
comes to sitting.
But the salary is 400,000 Naira. It is well. But Dogara has just.
Well, really, if you, how do we nip this in the bud? When some of these lawmakers come out and make it look as if we're on the same pedestal with other Nigerians. We are not.
We're not on the same pedestal.
No, we are not.
We are not, because that's why they say make sacrifices. You cannot, you don't expect us, because you can't see what the sacrifice that we make on a daily, because we're not on the same pedestal. And it's even difficult to see because you're high up there very, very up there. And we're just, so when you're seeing, you don't see in depth.
But
what we go through.
But looking at it critically, Queen, he says his salary is 400,000 naira, but like the normal Nigerians, like some normal Nigerians that earn 400 and all of that. But do we have 25 million naira when it comes to a particular city sitting on what? As in, you can 400,000 naira is nothing compared to what you get for allowances. So I don't know. So please, they should just
get wardrobe allowances.
And then let's look at this. This is a very sensitive caption here on the New Telegraph that says Akpabio blames Goza suicide attacks on security intelligence failure. I want to look at that and say, how true is that security intelligence failure? But the truth is, you know, security is not a one-man show. It doesn't matter whether they are security agents with guns. But if individuals can do the needful by giving informations, it will go a long way. It's a two-way. I think we shouldn't blame everything on security intelligence when it comes to insecurity, because they go out based on what they hear, the information, and then they try to work around it. So I think if individuals in society can give the right information, when they say be your brother's keeper, it's not just you and I. If you can come out and say, okay, fine, I saw some movement in the bush and all of that, I think there's something that is about to go down. I think it's not just a one-party thing because they are in the forefront. I'm not saying that because being affiliated with the military and all of that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it as a Nigerian, someone who is patriotic and someone who cares about you and I as a nation. I think this particular statement about Akpabio is not fair at all on security intelligence. I think so. I'm just saying. I think it's a you and I affair. It doesn't take one body to actually fight insecurity. It takes you and I to fight.
You know, I think that, quite frankly, the bulk of the work falls on the security parastatals.
They do.
And our security personnel in those areas. Because truly, if our security is working based on intelligence, these things are supposed to be detected. The borders of these villages, the borders of these communities.
And don't forget that it depends.
And then our security personnel should be well equipped. Well, we read on the papers the other day that some chief of army staffs are retiring due to equipment and technologies, lack of technologies, and so we need to, because you can't send people. The security personnel should be well remunerated. I can't hammer on that enough.
No, I can't either.
You don't give a hungry man a gun. They should be well compensated, well paid for. Their lives should be guaranteed and insured, because this is a life and death. They risk a high risk job, because they have to go into interior villages to protect people. They have to go give intelligence reports. They have to go see to it that their lives just mainly standing.
But do not forget that this information in which they get, that they gather to work.
That's why we have intelligence units where they go out like ordinary.
That's what I'm saying.
How effective have they been so far? I understand that we as individuals have a role to play.
Exactly.
In alerting these people.
Yes, we do.
In alerting, but sometimes these people can come as, you know, as an individual. If you see somebody, you cannot tell if somebody has a bomb in them or is a suicide bomber because they're well dressed and well covered. Let's not forget that this happened in the north. She probably must have had a hijab or something, you know, and carrying a baby, so you wouldn't tell. But can we have devices where you screen people coming in and out, especially at borders in villages and communities like that? And also, but I get the point where we have to play our part in terms of reporting.
Very important.
Any suspected.
Very important. Like I will give an instance. Jaji, when that bomb blast happened in Jaji, I was there. I was there. Fortunately, I was there. And then for what we heard, the individual, the suicide bomber that came in through the gate dressed as a military personnel, and then he entered, and then that was what he did. At that point, went round, and then there were some people that he spoke with, and he said they were not military personnel because he was already dressed up in his uniform and all of that. He spoke with them and he told them the right thing I felt they would have done was run and alert and say at least the casualties or whatever happened, there wouldn't have been so much. That's why I said it takes you and I. Definitely someone might be in the know. someone you might, when you tell someone something, when I tell you something, you will definitely tell someone. I might trust you enough to tell you, but the other people that you've told, do you trust them? Do they trust that they must? So there's someone, it takes us for us to get this particular insecurity curbed, and I know it falls on the weight of the, yes, of course it does.
What thinking is, how are these people, how are they convinced to be able to carry a bomb and die with it, to kill themselves and kill others as well? Now, this also falls back to education, particularly in the north, where people, they must have done a whole lot of rewiring in their brains, mental, coercion, subtle manipulations.
For me,
you to carry,
like
agree to be a suicide bomber.
Like I said, I am fortunate. I'm from a Muslim background, and I've met, because these people carry it and they tell you it's Islamic and all of that. But I have met Muslims. These are like back in the day. How was it for you back in the day? I know we're talking about, this is very sensitive. Back in the day, you have a Christian who is your neighbor, and you're celebrating Salah. You tell the Christian brother, don't even bother cooking that day. If you dare cook, don't even bother, because you know that my Muslim brother or sister is bringing food to my household. When it's Christmas, you tell your Muslim brother, don't even dare cook anything, because you know that my Christian brother is bringing food to my household. That was the love. That was what it was. I say it without being sentimental, that these people that practice this act under the guise of Islam are not real Muslims. The real Muslims I know, is love, unity, togetherness. These are our brothers. There was a time when I was in Kaduna, I couldn't go out with my car. This particular tricycle guy, a Muslim, he was wearing, Friday, he was getting ready for prayers, and I was just standing there. He would have just dropped me off. He just said, no, madam, don't worry, enter. He wasn't going my way. He took me round. He had to go to a very far place, and he went around and he dropped me where I was going to. That is the Muslim. That is the love that we know. These are the real Muslims, our brothers and sisters. So all of these people that come under the guise of,
aside coming up with the guise of Islam, which I know is not that, this is not the message of Islam.
No, it's not.
I'm just talking basically about the education system. We need to prioritize education, because if people are properly educated, I don't think that anybody can walk up to you and give you reasons why you should be a suicide bomber.
Exactly.
So we should prioritize education so that people are not easily manipulated and convinced to become detrimental and hazardous to society at large.
Very true. And of course, raising concern about the coming back of because this was something that we saw what happened to individuals, how people died. I told you I was in Jaji when a suicide bomber went into outside of the church, and a lot of people were injured. There were casualties in that incident. It's still in the mind of so many people. A lot of people that we know actually lost their lives, unfortunately, that incident. So for this sort of suicide bombing to come back again is scary. It's really, really scary. And I pray that it is curbed with immediate effect.
Amen.
All right, let's move on to the next paper now. And we have The Punch, of course. Let's go punchy into the headlines. Anthony Mamadou will always say that. And it says here, businesses grounded, house collapse as flood overtakes Lagos.
I mean, it was a 10-hour rainfall.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And National Assembly scores federal government low on budget implementation, $1.5 billion. Oil sector divestment deals completed. Now, over to Customs. Customs intercept 1.6 billion naira military wares, rifles from Turkey. And still on giving us punchy headlines now. Southeast leaders step up, move to free Nnamdi Kanu. Father, son remanded for allegedly stealing 75 million naira from Lagos firm. Are you kidding me? Senate probe $4 billion refineries repairs hazardous diesel import. And then let's talk about the 10-hour rainfall. Businesses grounded, house collapse as flood overtake Lagos. Really, really. The house, what are we going to blame it on? The rain, or we're going to blame it on the fact that the house was not well built, because due to some of these materials that we get now are not strong enough to stand the test of time compared to what we had, back in the day and now. So how do we work around this 10-hour?
Yes, they're all intertwined. 10-hour rainfall. Rain is expected like every time of the year.
Depends on how heavy it is.
And how heavy it is. And we've had that long period of time to prepare ahead for the rain in terms of flooding. What are the peculiar cases of flooding that we'll have? Which areas are most likely to get flooded? I mean, the Lekki axis, the Lekki-Ekpe area has always been known to get flooded during the rainy
Very
season.
true.
So what measures has the state government as well as relevant agencies put in place to ensure that those places, the issue of flood is a bit mitigated, or have there be proper drainage system put in place, houses that are built on drainage systems, houses that are or structures that are erected wherever they're not supposed to be erected, have they been taken away? Have they been marked for demolition or demolished so that there's never a reoccurrence? I mean, this is what we keep talking about. How do we say that we want a difference or we're expecting a different result when we keep doing same thing over and over and over and over
I was going to say that.
We hear about flooding time and time again, even when the rains are not as heavy as a 10-hour rainfall like we see happen yesterday in Lagos. Even when it's for a short period of time, we see flood. How much more now that we're getting into the rainy season, or we're already in the rainy season, and we're still getting issues of flood. While the waste management system in Lagos, agency in Lagos might be doing their part, people need to also do their part also, like I've always mentioned. Dispose waste properly. Let us have proper waste management disposal and disposal culture. Let's not see you carry your dustbin or your waste or whatever it is, your debris, and throw alongside the flood. The flood will not sweep it away. You're only doing that
into the drainage.
Yes, you're only doing that, pouring your waste in the flood. You're only doing that to go cause mayhem somewhere, and you're going to block proper drainage system somewhere. So we should stop it, and it's going to be detrimental to you and your health. Take for instance, if you live in an environment that is flooded, you're prone to all manner of diseases. We're talking about cholera now. You may not see the effects now, but it has adverse effect. You begin to see it as soon as you begin to stay in such flooded areas where you're throwing in your death. Cholera, we are trying to mitigate cholera, but the flood is going to intensify it if we don't manage our waste properly and try as much as we can to ensure that we stop this. Cholera, and then we're talking about malaria. Malaria has been known to be one of the one disease that has been consistent.
Very true.
We still haven't been able to
because we're in terrestrial.
Yes, we're still not been able to curb it. And then you now compare it with flood and stagnant water. You know how the prevalence of diseases and sicknesses and other related illnesses that we cannot even mention now.
Very
so
true.
We should be very critical when
proactive
in terms of flood and waste management. And then let's not forget building materials also. Because of the high cost of cement, the high cost of building materials, people have opted to buy second-hand materials that are inferior materials.
Very true.
And they've been using it to build houses. Before you know it, we're seeing, even when the floods don't come, structures are coming down at a go. How much more the floods? So the floods, these materials, this building will not be able to withhold the pressure that comes with the flood, and so we most likely will see buildings collapse. So no matter how, but I want to put this out there, no matter how expensive the cost of building materials is or are, let's not be quick to build. It's better to incur those costs, buy those materials, or not build at all, other than to build a house with inferior materials and have it come down when you least expect, I beg your pardon, because you're going to be losing lives, properties, and the hard work you've gathered. It would be better to save your money other than build an inferior structure.
All right, now the Nation, we're just going to read briefly now, so please go out and get in your Nation newspaper. And it says customs impounds guns, drones, others at MMIA, and here it says the Gara federal lawmakers not earning jumbo pay, but electricity consumers tariff now 209.50 naira per kilowatt. And this is the same stories we've read. in other papers. And then let's check out this day newspaper. And it says here, Senate flays federal government's poor implementation of 9 trillion naira capital components in budget. With 800 violent attacks, 7,000 deaths, Tugger calls for joint action against terror. Like I said, it's joint action. It takes you and I, the military, it takes the civil, everyone together. Agrib, Egonor's asset sale deals completed in major breakthrough for Nigerian's oil sector. So please go out and get your this day paper as we quickly wrap it up on the newspaper resume. Now the Tribune, Nigerian Tribune says only fiscal federalism will enable government pay workers living wage. Now let's see how possible is the federal government to reform Nigeria into 1 trillion. We've read that. Southeast senators meet AGF wanting to release Nnamdi Kanu. Let's see how well that plays out. Still on the flood issue that we are looking at now, the final paper, which is the Vanguard, and it says here, the caption says on the Vanguard, high cost of drugs to persist as local production flops. And here, discourse hype, we've read that. Lamentation chaos as flood grounds Lagos. Terrorists kidnap Kaduna judge, kills son, demand 300 million ransom. Of course, that is insecurity, and it's biting hard into the country. That is so sad. That terrorist kidnap Kaduna judge, kills son, demand 300 million naira ransom. That's a lot.
That's a lot. And you know one thing with these kidnappers, when they kidnap, but this here we see that it's the son of a judge here. It's sad, but the kidnappers, what they do now is they just kidnap people randomly, regardless of your status, regardless of what you do. You can see somebody returning from his shop in the market where he sells provision, and he's been kidnapped, and then the sum is ridiculous, ridiculous sum. And now the sad thing is, like we've seen play out, I know someone who told me about how his father was kidnapped, and you know who is aged, and his aged father was kidnapped, and ransom was demanded. This is somebody who, as at the time, was still in need of medication, proper medication, and then, but thank God ransom was paid, and then he was released. But we also hear of cases where people have been kidnapped and they were killed as well, and then the families had to go everywhere, run helter-skelter to ensure that they raise this ransom to pay to these kidnappers. They go as far as selling their valuables, their belongings, selling everything, even borrowing, just to ensure that the loved ones is released. And then at the end of the day, they go and find the dead body of the loved one. So it is the trauma. A lot of Nigerians are traumatized, from the economic hardship down to the insecurity we're facing, down to banditry and kidnapping and everything that is happening, the hardship, the high cost of electricity tariff. Every single thing right now is pinching hard. It's pinching hard. And then the trauma that comes with having your loved ones in the den of kidnappers. You don't want to imagine it. And
no,
you
don't.
No, you don't. Exorbitant amount that they ask for. If I had 700 million naira, I would be walking around with security. And this is why we ask, why are Nigerians leaving the country? They are leaving for their safety. Because with all of the money that I have, with all of my security, with all of the protocols that I have, one policy can change everything around for the worse. Anything can happen. I can be kidnapped. I can be coming down, returning from work. I can be kidnapped. Anything can happen. That's what the people are saying. That's what they're saying. I can be coming back from work. I can be coming back from my shop, and anything can happen. So they seek alternative measures. Let me go to a climb that I consider safe. Quite frankly, the military is doing all that they can to ensure that they curb it, and they bring it to, they bring the issues of insecurity to the minimal, or to curb it entirely. But we need to intensify effort. The issue of insecurity, we need to intensify our efforts and ensure that
very true.
We curb it, or we nip it in the bud, so that we don't have the influx of people leaving the country. We don't have, people japping, like we say here. We begin to wonder why people are japping. They're japping for their security, for their safety.
And better livelihood.
And the livelihood, where they don't have to, pay so much for.
All right, so that's that's all we can take on newspaper review this beautiful time on Global Morning. Queen Agaba has actually nipped this particular segment in the bud. I didn't have to say much because I was just watching you.
Well, you did give your sense in it.
Yes, I did.
But I'm just pained. These issues are critical, and I'm in Nigerian, and you're in Nigerian, and you know that you say this behind cameras often, how we need to fix our system.
No, we need to. I always say that we need to.
Particularly now, everybody's crying. The rich is crying. The poor is crying. Everybody is crying, and we need to. We're all making sacrifices, and we need our leaders and government officials to make sacrifices as well and see us. Let it not be like there's a disconnect and they're not seeing the plight of the people. Nigerians are pained.
Nigerians are pained.
That,
But we know that, let's be hopeful. We know that this present administration is working and trying tirelessly to try and fix this. And let's just keep our fingers crossed and know that everything is going to be fine by the grace of God. All right, now let's quickly go on a very quick break. And then when we return, we're going to be talking more about the flood system and the NIMNET and all of that, the predictions by the Senate, which is very important. All right, now it's Global Morning. Stick around.
With every government and introduction of new policies, businesses of all kinds and sizes seize the opportunity to evolve and redefine themselves. Business Point on Global Television is where we follow the money and put the facts and figures right in front of you. Watch Business Point every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. as Kikelamo Okeri tracks all the latest developments across critical sectors. Business Point, this is business.
Are you ready to be entertained like never before? Get ready to dive into the latest and greatest entertainment news in lifestyle, music, movies, birthday celebration, and so much more, all on Entertainment Circle on Global Television. From the hottest red carpet event to exclusive interviews with your favorite stars, we've got you covered. Stay up to date with the latest trends and news from the entertainment world, all in one place. Tune in every Saturday by 1 p.m. with Chong Annabelle Joseph on Global Television.
In an ever-busy world, the increasing challenge of keeping track of health matters can be extremely demanding. Follow the latest health tips and trends on Health Guide on Global Television on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Health Guide on Global Television. Put your health first. Get ready for it. Inside Today brings you issues relating to family, peer pressure, drugs, substance abuse, societal and topical issues making rounds. Join Jumaine Manson on Global Television Monday to Thursday and a repeat every Friday. Time 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Don't miss out.
Are you a food lover? Do you care about your health and nutrition? Are you interested in exploring the diverse culinary traditions from around the world? Then look no further. Introducing Lunch Global on Global Television, a show that takes you on a delicious journey through the world of food, nutrition, and diet. So, whether you're a seasoned foodie, a health enthusiast, or simply curious about the world of food, Lunch Global has something for everyone. Tune in Mondays to Fridays and let your taste bud take you on a journey of flavor, culture, and discovery on Lunch Global. Bon appetit!
Time check. It's midday. Then it's Midday Discourse. Midday Discourse is a program that covers trending local and international news, current issues, and human-related topics. Join Samuel Odi weekdays 1 p.m. on Global Television. The discussion starts here.
An apparently peaceful traffic situation can turn into a nightmarish experience with the activities of the popular but ignoble criminals called One Chance. They are violent criminals who disguise as either commercial drivers or as passengers. The trick is to shout, one chance, giving the impression that the vehicle needs only one passenger to move. But jump in and you jump into a pile of miseries. Kabiru Adamu is a security consultant and confirms that this pattern of crime has taken an alarming dimension.
It is a common occurrence in most city centers. In Abuja, as an example, it's very difficult for you to go to any space where there are a couple of persons ranging from 3 up until 10 that you will not find at least 1 to 2 to 3 persons that have not been victims of One Chance, as long as the persons are using commercial vehicles.
So I entered the cab, hailing Pape.
Chidinma is a young mother. She had a terrible and pathetic experience in the hands of the criminals.
Chidinma was dropped by her sister right about here at around 8 o'clock in the evening. A Mazda car driven by a man and one other passenger at the back pulled over and hastily picked her. Destination, Mpape. But the journey was doomed because a set of horrible things started happening at the inception of the trip.
Immediately I entered. The passenger by my left, was behaving as if he was collecting his balance from the driver. So I felt comfortable. I guess they did that so that I wouldn't have to notice what was going to go on. So immediately after he collected that balance, the next thing he did was to stretch his hands towards my side, and here was on my neck, while here was trying to stop me from opening the door by my right. So as I tried to open the door by my right, they were shouting, better cooperate. You know, go cooperate, but you won't die. You won't die this night. She said, go feel come out from this car. This is go feel come out. You know, go feel come out from this car. They were beating me. The first person that hit me was the man in front. So he punched me with, I don't know whether it was a ring on his finger or a rod. Mainly he punched me. That was when here, the blood started oozing from here. So I was in the pool drinking my blood. Then they now told me, lie down. Okay, lie down. No, go lie down, ba. So I was struggling. They've collected my stuffs. They've collected my bags at that time. I didn't have my bag with me. So they were telling me, no, go lie down, ba. So I thought they wanted to rape me as they were telling me to lie down on the floor of the car. So as I tried to lie down on that floor, the one by my side too now slapped me, and he tried to strangle me too. That was where this marks came out from. So he was strangling me. I was telling me, no, you go die this night. Maybe you no want cooperate. You go die this night. You go die this night.
Chidinma was lucky to escape alive because she did not fit the correct profile of the perfect victim the criminals were searching for their sinister intentions.
By the time they were done beating me, it wasn't like the madam, you know what you go do now? You go cut your breast. I said, okay, sir. He now said, do you have kids? I said, yes, I have kids. He just kept quiet. The next thing I saw was that he told me, okay, oh yeah, get up.
Alone in the night.
This young lady was also lucky because she survived and agreed to share her experience with us.
I've been attacked in this beggar before. I was hit from behind. My phones and everything were collected. And it took me years to be able to stand in beggar and get a car and pick up a cab.
In a daring display of impunity, most of the criminals move around with POS machines for ease of stealing money out of the bank accounts of their victims. Security experts explain that this is very possible, especially with the emergence of new financial outfits who ignore the vigorous security check on customers before opening customer accounts.
A lot of the instances that we've monitored, they actually use the financial systems. Now, the reason for this is commonplace. Number one, we do not have a national database for individuals, Nigerians actually. And more importantly, even the banking system has not put in place infrastructure to reduce the possibility of this from happening, and then secondly, where it happens, to trace the perpetrators, arrest them, and then prevent further crime.
Abuja is Nigeria's seat of government. It is also a bubbling cosmopolitan city that attracts people from every part of Nigeria and even abroad, who come mostly in search of economic opportunities. But like many emerging cities facing the challenges of growth, crime has become a major issue. The June 2023 edition of Nigeria Security Report for Beacon Intel, a security consulting firm, shows an increase in crime in not just Abuja but other major Nigerian cities. The FCT Police Command says it is doing its best to fight crime in the territory in order to protect the security and welfare of citizens.
We have created a tactical squad called Anti-One Chance, which they have been charged with the responsibility of these one chance activities to wipe away, in conjunction with the DPOs as well. The DPOs are doing on the divisional level, and this squad that I mentioned, Anti-One Chance, has been deployed also to each division.
The FCT Police Public Relations Officer says the police needs the cooperation of the victims and other citizens in order to tackle this despicable crime called one chance.
Sometimes these modus, they change their modus, though we've identified the modus they are using. But when they know we identify them, they also change their modus. So when if you find yourself as a victim, it's only wise and advisable that you report these incidences to the security agencies.
I actually did not believe that they could do anything about it. That was why I didn't report to them.
Our law enforcement agents that do not see this crime as a major crime. We've been in instances where we've monitored this development on behalf of our clients. We will report the cases by providing the telephone numbers that were used in the crime, the account numbers that were used in the crime. The response you get from the law enforcement is that they have bigger challenges. And this is the effort they will use in stopping this is not worth the benefit.
Victims survive and injuries are treated, but the emotional scar takes a very long time to heal.
It took me months, or if not years, to actually recover. And psychologically, everything around me now, even if I enter a cab now, I will start to be conscious of where I am, because of everybody around me is a suspect.
The one that was repeatedly beating me, I didn't see the one in the front, his face, but the one at the back, I kind of saw his face. So when I see someone that looks like that person, I'll be like, are you sure it's not this man that beat me that night?
Kabiru Adamu says commuters should avoid flagging vehicles along the road. Instead, approved and designated motor parks should be used. Anjum Abdullahi, Gilang News.
Time check. It's midday. Then it's Midday Discourse. Midday Discourse is a program that covers trending local and international news, current issues, and human-related topics. Join Samuel Odi weekdays 1 p.m. on Global Television. The discussion starts here.
It's time for sports' biggest moments on Global Television. The headlines, scores, breaking news, and commentaries on sporty events. Talking with the biggest players, strikers, and about the slam dunks and goals, stunning saves, near misses, and upsets. Let's talk about the greatest home runs, comebacks, knockdowns, and victories. Talk sports with the king of sports, Anthony Momodu. Weekdays, 10 a.m. Don't miss out.
Hello, children. Gather round, let me tell you a story. Do you know that stories have a way of captivating the minds of children, bringing fun and imagination to teach them morals. Join Sharon Ajay as she takes you to explore the thrilling and exciting world of storytelling.
I'll be sharing with you our next interesting story.
Tune in every Saturday on Global Television, time 5:30 p.m.
Is the desk on Global Television?
Nigeria. Come join Anthony Momadou on television's most compelling and facts-finding talk live show.
We are definitely. Can we not say that again? Because
That this country gets it right.
It's the Dex on Global Television, where we analyze and dissect storming issues and commentaries in the world's biggest black nation, Nigeria.
Who is being held accountable for this money?
The eyes have it.
We stay and decide policies and reforms on the Dex. Tune in Mondays to Fridays, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Global Television. Let's stay on the Dex.
You're welcome back, and this is the second part of the program Global Morning, and we will be looking at something very interesting. But meanwhile, it was confusion and lamentation galore in Lagos yesterday as activities in most parts of the state were paralyzed following early morning rains that left many neighborhoods heavily flooded, with motorists trapped along major roads, including the ever-busy 3rd Mainland Bridge. It was also a blame galore, with many pointing accusing fingers at the state government for failing to enforce environmental protection laws and persecuting those caught dumping refuse in the drainage channels, leading to their blockage and flooding whenever it rains. And in response to this, the Senate has called on the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, and other relevant bodies to promptly provide information, recommendations, and preparedness measures regarding flooding and other disasters. This is to ensure that the public receive vital information promptly and to prevent unnecessary loss of lives and property. Joining on the discuss today is Dr. Ibrahim, and trader. And of course, he is a consultant, and he is a Nigerian, and of course, a political expert. Good morning, Dr. Ibrahim. It's great to have you on the program.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much. Now, looking at what happened yesterday, talking about the flood that happened in various parts of Nigeria. Of course, it was a 10-hour rain in Lagos that left many individuals stranded by vehicles. Of course, the rain swept children away, all of these disasters that happened. How would you say that the government have prepared themselves? Before we go into NIMNET now, do you think we've actually prepared ourselves for the rain that has come? Because this is a yearly occurrence in Nigeria.
Thank you. The flooding issue is it has some multidimensional factors. Number one is that we were misusing our dams. We are not utilizing them. And the governments at the state level, they are not serious about the information being advanced by NIMET. Most of the time, NIMET will always send an advance information that so time, so date, this is what is going to happen. So places are going to experience flood. And you see, it is our culture and habit that we always block the drainages, which one of the factors that always bring city flooding. Second, it is the problem of the state governments to identify prone areas black spots and reconstruct the drainages so that there should be an easy passages. Like now, I'm just coming from Asokoro, and whenever it rains, Asokoro is only 2 ways. The other way that you are coming, Boston to coming to Bila, you can't pass. Small cars cannot pass. We have to go to the other side because our cars cannot be able to pass because of flooding. And this has been a yearly occurrence. So if this thing is happening in the federal capital, where Mr. Project is there and is residing in Asokoro, so you cannot say that there is a nonchalant attitude from the officials and also the managers and also the users. Or I can say some of us, we have a habit, whatever you have, you will throw it inside the drainage.
Yes.
And some of us, when we bring our garbages, we throw it inside the garbages.
That's true.
So these garbages really, with time, you see that they were filled up. You see, even the manhole, people, if they come, they will put it.
But Mr. Ibrahim, let's talk about environmental sanitation.
Yes.
Isn't that we have days that we have to perform this environment? Do you think we do not take it seriously? That's when you open up your drainage, you remove all of those debts that are there so that the water can actually have easy assets of passage to flow. So do you think it's the fault of Nigerians? Because I know that we take our garbage and we throw it out in the drainage. We do all of this when we eat our wraps and all of that. Some people do it. Some people are unpatriotic. But at the same time, what happened to that environmental sanitation law that every last month of Saturdays there should be an environmental sanitation? Do you think we do not open up the drainage and remove all of these deserts that are there for easy passage of water in case there is flood?
Let me tell you, that is not the problem. The problem, there is no law and order. There is nobody that will supervise, will execute, and will enforce. As far as there is no enforcement, there is a problem. Even the federal government is not serious, because the federal government, since last 2 years, they have been saying because of flooding, they are going to create National Flood Management Council. Up to now, there was nothing that has been done in that direction. And secondly, is that you go in all the states, where is our public health officials that we know? They will come house by house, inspect you, enforce, and take you either to court, to sanitation courts, or to other normal courts that you have broken so low. So because nobody cares, the state governments didn't care, the federal government didn't care, the people doesn't care. And this is the situation, and this is why you see every time, like now, we should be able to know when this water is coming from Cameroon. We should be able for so many years, because when the water is too much from Cameroon, they have to release it. And releasing it, we have already our water. Then there must be overflow. And this overflow, we let other people to come and build houses on the waterways. So definitely, which is not supposed to be. They are not supposed to be allowed by the urban development agencies of the state agencies, of the states, urban development agencies in the states. They are not supposed to allow and give permission for somebody to build in a waterway. So these are all multiple factors. And the moment the plot pass, everybody forget everything till next year. We have been repeating.
Exactly. This particular issue is overflogged. We keep doing the same thing over and over again.
Yes, and nobody cares. It is now the responsibility of the government to create an agency on flooding, and it is also the responsibility of the National Assembly to create a law and bill that will create this agency to reduce these menace, and also to employ more public health officials. Majority of them, we have a lot of public health graduates, diplomas, but they have no job. Yes.
All right. Now, the Senate has come out to say that NIMNET should give the accurate predictions when it comes to rainstorms and thunderstorms. Now, how accurate are NIMNET's predictions regarding heavy rainfalls and its aftermath?
You see, thank God you say predictions. These are scientific, using scientific tools and applying them to focus and see what is going to happen. Sometimes they are accurate and sometimes they are not accurate because you are dealing with nature. But majority of time, NIMET, they give 85 to 90% accurate information, and they always publish, and they always said it. They have been saying that. I was surprised for the National Assembly to direct NIMET. It's not their responsibility. Yes, it's their responsibility to focus and tell us when the rain and how the weather is. But who is controlling the flood? What causes the flood? This is what I expect them to discuss, to bring consultants. What causes the floods? They should liaise and create an agency that will look after this so that there should be replication of the agency at the federal level, replication of that at state level, so that there should be enforcement. There should,
balance.
Because nobody check anybody. Nobody punish anybody. Everybody does what he likes. So that is why you see, up to now, we keep on repeating and repeating and repeating. Yes.
But I want to ask, do you think NIMNET, they have the right resources, they have the right equipment? Because when you talk about weather now, it's something that is very sensitive because a lot of individuals fly airplanes and all of that, which could be detrimental to the lives of individuals. And then, of course, this particular flood of heavy rains that has to do with lives and properties. You heard that some school children were swept away by the flood, if you read the papers this morning. Now, can NIMNET provide, do you think NIMNET, they have the capacity to provide an insight into the long-term effect of heavy rainfall on infrastructure and agriculture?
Yeah, as far as NIMET is concerned, as far as I was following their activities, I have understand they are trying their best. As I told you, this thing concerns nature. And you cannot change the natural costs.
Very true.
And you can predict, but it's not all your prediction will be 100% all over the world. No, everybody knows this. And all this thing happens all over the world where they are even advanced. But I'm sure NIMET has the equipment, has everything to know that this is what is happening, and they have been trying their best to that. The only problem we have, it is preparedness. We are not prepared. We don't care. This is our attitude. This is our culture. As far as it's not my problem, it doesn't matter. The government is so careless about this flooding. This is a thing that is supposed to say that it has not been occurring, because we know the hotspots, we know what causes it? Why not take money and expand the drainage? Why not impose a law? Why not do what you are supposed to do? I know I was in Dubai, I was in Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, you cannot even throw chewing gum on the street. You can't. In Dubai, they have over 15,000 cameras.
No.
15,000. Wherever you are, whatever you do there, even if you throw a needle, the camera will zoom at the needle and see what you have thrown. So what we are not saying we should do what they are doing, but why can't we just do simple thing? House to house. I know that when we were children, there is a public health that always go house to house and look in front of you, look in front of your drainage, look whatever comes from your house. How did you? Yes, and that will control malaria.
Yes.
We control other diseases.
Very true.
But in this one, we didn't know. So you find out in the drainage, you can meet snakes there, you can meet rats there, you can have plenty of mosquitoes there.
Definitely.
Where there is hiding place, you can block this. So I wonder why up to now we are not employing public health. They are supposed to say every one officer should be in charge of maybe 100 houses or 200 houses. Let him be seen, whoever is there, what he is doing. Is he defaulting? Whoever defaulted, he should be taken either to sanitary courts. Even do we have sanitary courts?
I don't think we do.
Or environmental courts. Then you go. Then we also, this is the whole issue. The problem is leadership, my sister.
Very true.
Yes.
Now, let's look at NIMNET. You know, in some there are rural and urban areas, everyone is not exempted when it comes to flood, when it comes to natural disaster, when it comes to protection of lives and property, or people losing their lives and losing properties. Now, how do you think NIMNET can collaborate with local authorities to pass information, that's early warnings about post-heavy rainfall challenges? How can they tell individuals in the rural areas that there's going to be heavy rainfall, bringing it down to their own language and locality that they will understand?
You see, as we are talking, if you go, a lot of local governments, when you call NIMET, even the chairman will not know what NIMET is all about. Then how will he collaborate with these local people? The problem, I told you, is leadership. When the leadership is interested, especially at the federal level, set up this National Flood Management Council to become an agency. An agency is going to be replicated in the state level, and also at the state level, the state office should have some local offices at local government level. They will communicate direct to the local officer in charge of that local government.
Very good.
And that person will do what is right and will communicate to the chairman, and chairman will also give approval to also communicate with the local people that are there. So it's just something simple, and we just need a good leadership and direction. So this is the only issue, the only problem.
But how do you think the public can actively engage with NIMNET to contribute to better preparedness? Because you said we're not prepared. For every year, this is the same issue. Do you think we've overflogged this issue of flood drainage system? How can we a better preparedness and response to strategies for heavy rainfall aftermath. Because sometimes when we hear that, because the last time, almost 2 years ago, we heard about the heavy rain flood that happened in Bayelsa, Lokoja, where you couldn't even transport yourself from Abuja to Lokoja due to the heavy flood that happened. And in Bayelsa, where you hear that even cops were coming out from the ground due to the flood that happened. So how do you think we and NIMNET can help prepare for the future, for the aftermath, as in preparing ourselves when it comes to good drainage system, preparing ourselves when it comes to getting all of these water systems that can help to channel these waters to a particular place that it could stay and not become a menace in the society?
You see, first of all, you look at the act that established NIMET. The act that established NIMET say that they can only forecast and broadcast. That is their work. Forecast and broadcast. Right now, in the secretary to the government office, we have ecological office. And this ecological office, whatever the federal government add, is getting 2% direct to the ecological fund. What is you are asking, then you shall ask, what is the ecological fund doing? They got 2%. It's a lot of money of whatever Nigeria got. And they are the one doing this ecological project across Nigeria. And I am thinking it is supposed to be, if they have gotten this money, then they shall ask the local governments, not state. The local government, they shall come with proposal of where problem is, where the hotspot, what is the size, and the ecological office is supposed to send engineers and consultants to go and study, to come with a permanent solution. But this is an office that will stay 2 years without awarding a contract. So I'm telling you, I say there is problem. But let us look at the problem. Even the Senate are supposed to look. They should not be accusing NIMET. NIMET was created only to forecast and broadcast. That is all what they do. Weather. As far as weather is concerned, it is, if they didn't tell us what is going to happen, that is where the problem is.
And like I said, they have a greater role to play. I know it's to forecast and broadcast,
yes,
but at the same time, they should work with individuals, agencies, in order to tell them, okay, prepare yourself. This is what is ahead. There's going to be rainstorm. There's going to be thunderstorms. So prepare yourself.
If you are following the website, I was following them. If you are following, they always broadcast. Sometimes they even state it on the national, in the national dailies and also in the other major televisions.
Very true.
That this so date is going to happen, and they are even able to every day there is weather in the weather forecast in the NTA.
Yes, there is.
So they are always there telling you this is what will happen. This is what will happen at so time. This is what you are expecting. So you can see they are giving the information. When they give that information, it is also the responsibility of the Ministry of Information.
Exactly.
To expand that information.
And create more awareness.
More awareness and propagate it to where they were thinking this thing.
Exactly.
And also, it is also the Ministry of Environment to also focus and to have a desk officer within the Ministry of Environment to be telling the State Ministry of Environment, in your so-so site, in your so-so place, in your so-so, this is what is going to happen. So this is exactly the whole problem. What I'm telling you is this. The problem is leadership.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Dr. Ibrahim. That's the much we can take on the program today, talking about the weather report, NIMNET, and of course what the Senate said when it says they should give us a head start when it comes to the prediction. Thank you so much for being a part of the program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ibrahim. All right, let's quickly go on a quick break. The program continues shortly. Stay tuned.
Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofwebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the Global Morning team.
For an insightful idea that takes the center stage and the conversation that gets beyond the headlines, to explore the lasting impact of political decisions, Big Talk got you covered. From policy debates to geopolitical insights, from thought-provoking discussions to actionable insight.
What is the real responsibility of government?
Big Talk delves deep into the heart of the matter. Join us weekdays on Global Televisions from 6:30 p.m. for a reverting journey into the heart of politics, where we dissect issues shaping our society.
With every government and introduction of new policies, businesses of all kinds and sizes seize the opportunity to evolve and redefine themselves. Business Point on Global Television is where we follow the money and put the facts and figures right in front of you. Watch Business Point every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. as Kikelamo Okeri tracks all the latest developments across critical sectors. Business Point. This is business.
A very quick break, and of course that was the second discussion of the day, talking about NIMNET and the prediction by the Senate to give us the accurate predictions when it comes to rainstorms, thunderstorms, and of course heavy rains in various parts of the country. And I hope they do justice. Oh, you heard what Dr. Ibrahim said. He says the problem we have is leadership. If we have the right channels to pass these informations, we'll be on the right track. All right, Queen, with that we have to wrap it up on the program Global Morning this beautiful Thursday morning. And we've spoken a lot about relationships, we've spoken about insecurity, spoken a lot about schools, strike, education, everything encompassed. We've spoken a lot about it. And of course, Global Morning comes up tomorrow, same time. Of course, it's going to be with Michael Edikan. He'll be here to hold it down. And thank you so much, Queen, for being a part of Global Morning. Holding down for Anthony Momodu, my co-host that doesn't know maths.
Next week.
He will be here next week by the grace of God. And let's not forget, congratulations to Global Television. We've given the channel 365 on DSTV multi-choice. Kudos, congratulations to each and every one of us. So those of you that have DSTV, you stand a chance to watch us on DSTV, and we'll still be on Star Time. So both networks will be on. So thank you all to our viewers. Thank you all so much for being with us in this very beautiful time and journey. And like I'll say, let's be hopeful. Let's keep hope alive. We know that everything is going to be fine. Take a deep breath. As long as there is life, just like Queen is taking a deep breath right now. As long as there is life, there is hope. Okay, I am Jumai Manson, and my beautiful co-host
Queen Agaba. Do have a beautiful day ahead.
Good morning.